Good morning students, I am Ravijit sir, and here we will study about the topic uniform circular motion. This is from the first chapter course of ICSE class 10 physics. Let us start with the term circular motion. As all we know that motion along a circular track is called circular motion. If we take example of any particle, that the particle moves along the circular track around the central point O, then the particle is said to be circular motion. That is, the particle moves from A, B, C, D to A again. If we think a different condition, that is, the particle is moving from A to B only, but it doesn't complete the revolution. But however, the motion is along a circular track, so its motion is said to be circular motion. If we take one of the example, suppose you are in a car and your car takes a U-turn on the road, then the car do not complete the revolution. However, the car is cover a distance which is a smaller section of a circular track. So car is moving along a circular track but a smaller section of the circular track. So its motion is said to be circular motion. So this is called circular motion. While we read about any kind of motion, then we will think about these terms. So let's start with the first term, time. Whenever we think about a kind of motion, circular motion or any kind of motion, we will think what is the time taken for the motion. Suppose here we consider that the particle moves from A, B, C, D to A. That means a complete revolution and takes a time t for complete one revolution. That is to cover the distance A, B, C, D to A, which is the circumference, that is 2 pi r. This is the total distance, and to cover this circumference for one complete revolution, the particle takes the time t. If we think half of the distance, that means the half of the circumference, that is AC. From A to C, it takes the time t by 2, that is half of the time. Again, if you think the quarter section of this circular track, that is AB or BC or CD or DA, it takes time t by 4. That is the quarter of the total time. Here AC, to move from A to C, it takes the time t by 4. From A to B, it is B, A to B. So, if we now take this smaller section of the circular track in more small sections, like suppose here we take the point P, Q and R. So here there are 4 smaller sections of this AB. If we think the particle moves from A to P and takes the time 1 by 4 of T by 4, that means T by 16 is the total time taken by the particle to come from A to P. Again, from P to Q it takes the same time, that is T by 16. From Q to R it takes the same time, T by 16. So from R to B it takes the same time, T by 16. So what we found? We found that for every smaller section of the circular track, if those smaller sections are equal, then it takes the equal interval of time. That means in the circular track, to cover every equal smaller section, the particle takes equal interval of time. In other words, we can say that at every point of the circular track, the particle is in constant speed. That means its speed do not change while it moves along the circular track. At that particular condition, we call it uniform circular motion, because the uniform refers to constant speed. Its motion is uniform and its motion is along the circular track, so it becomes uniform circular motion. So time is t and its speed is constant. Now what about the direction? See, we think about the two positions of the particle when it moves along the circular track. Suppose first point is A and the second point is C, which is diametrically opposite to the point A. So here at the point A, if you think about the direction when the object revolves in anti-clockwise direction, then at the point A, the particle moves toward our right. Whereas if you consider when the particle is at the point C, it moves toward our left. So at two different positions, the direction of the particle, direction of motion is opposite to one another. Suppose if you think about the point P, so here the particle moves upward as the board is here. So here at the point D, it moves downward. So what we found that at different points the direction of motion is different. So if we consider any points, suppose after the point A there is a point A1. After A1 there is one more point A2. After that point there is one more point A3. That means A1, A2, A3 are the very next point after A. So at the point A, when the body is at point A, it comes to the point A1 and its direction changes like that. The direction represented by the tangent drawn at the point. If you draw a tangent from the particular point, then it gives the direction of the particle. Suppose here at the point A2, that means when the object comes from A to A1, then A1 to A2, then at the point A2, if you will draw the tangent, then it gives the direction of the particle. At the point A3 again, we will draw the tangent, we get the direction of the particle. So what we found that, see, those arrows represent the direction of the particle. So we found that at every point, at every next point, the particle changes its direction. The particle changes its direction, and the direction and the change of direction is toward the center. That means the change of direction is radially inward. So the direction changes at every point, and if there is change in direction, then there is change in velocity. We will study about now the term velocity. So we all know that speed of the particle along the circular track is constant, but we all know that velocity is a vector quantity. Here we consider the magnitude as well as direction. The particle moves with constant speed. That means its magnitude is same, but its direction changes at every point. That means its velocity continuously changing its direction. That means the direction of velocity of the particle at every point changing, and if there is change in velocity, we found that there is change in velocity as there is change in direction. So if there is change in velocity, that means there is any acceleration on the body. That means the body continuously accelerated to change its direction, to change its velocity. So there is some acceleration. Let us find out what is the direction of acceleration. Here from the figure we see that at every point the change of direction of the particle motion is along the next point. That means it is toward the center. So the acceleration always acting toward the center of the body at every point. So while the object leaves any of the points, suppose here we consider at the point A3, when the particle leaves the point A3, an acceleration acting which is toward the center of the circular track, and the direction of the velocity changes, and the direction of motion is also changes. So if there is any acceleration which is acting toward the center of the circular track, then there is some force. That means there must be a force act on the particle that moves along the circular track to change the direction, to change the velocity, to accelerate the particle. There is a force. Force is necessary there. A force is necessary to maintain the particle in the circular track, and this force is always acting toward the center of the circular track. See, at every point there is a force acting toward the center of the circular track. This force is equal in magnitude at every point, and that is why the change of direction is uniform. The direction changes uniformly and maintain this one in a circular track. So what we call this force that act toward the center, that means the force that seeking the particle toward the center and maintain it to revolve around this circular track. What we call this force? This force is called This force is called centripetal force. This is what we call centripetal. By what it means center seeking force. That means the particle is seeking toward the center of the object. The force is equal in magnitude at every point on the circular track, but at every point the direction of the force is radially inward. So this centripetal force causes the object to rotate, to revolve around the circular track. Now we take some of the example, like suppose we think that in solar system the planets revolve around the sun. So here the gravitational force of the sun act as the centripetal force which maintain all the planets to rotate around it, around the sun. If you think about the electron and proton, electron and nucleus, so the electrons revolve around the nucleus, and it is the attractional force of proton that act as the centripetal force to maintain the electron to revolve around the nucleus. Suppose if you think about one example, a stone is tied on a thread and the tied thread is reeled. That means the stone along with the thread reeled. So the stone moves in a circular track, revolves in a circular track. So this motion of the stone is also called circular motion. Suppose at any moment the thread is break, then where the stone moves, suppose here, if you consider here at the point, the stone is moving like that, and here at the point C, the thread is broken, then what happens? There is no any centripetal force act on it. Suppose here we consider this one is a circular track, and this is the thread. This thread has a tension T. So this tension T acts as a force, as a centripetal force to maintain this stone in this circular track. Suppose this thread broken at some condition, then what happens? The stone moves toward this, which is the linear direction. That means the tangent drawn on the circular track gives the direction of the stone, and this occurs when there is no when the thread is broken, there is the tension becomes zero, so there is no any centripetal force at the time. So in the absence of that centripetal force, the object do not accelerate, the object does not accelerate, and it starts to move in a linear direction. Now think about one example. Suppose you are in a car and your car takes a U-turn, then your body, your upper portion of the body feels a force that act to throw you out to the U curve. See, suppose your car is moving in this U track, then what happens? You are moving with the car, and your upper portion of your body feels a force that act on you to throw out your body out to this circular track, out to the circular, that is U curve, when your car takes a U-turn. So what is this force? This force is acting on the body which is equal but opposite to this centripetal force, and this force is called here centrifugal force, which is acting radially outward opposite to the centripetal force. Here see, at the point P, if you consider a force acting which is the centripetal force directed toward the center of the circular track, then a force F which is equal and opposite which is equal and opposite to the centripetal force. This force is called centrifugal force. But remember one thing, this force, centrifugal force, is not a real force. This is an assumed force. This is pseudo force. This is just to know more about this centrifugal force. We consider the first law of motion, and we all know that according to first law of motion, a body retain its state of rest or its state of uniform linear motion unless any external force is applied on it. Now suppose think a body moves in a linear direction with uniform speed, that means with constant speed. Suppose this one be the direction of motion. So body retain its motion in the linear direction without any acceleration. That means there is no any acceleration. The acceleration is zero. So when the body moving in a linear motion, there is no any acceleration. The body is not accelerated. Now here, if you think about this circular motion, where the particle is at the point here at the point B, then what happened? At the point B, the direction of this particle is represented by drawing a tangent. This tangent is actually a straight line which gives the direction of the particle at the point B. Suppose at that moment when the particle is at the point B, the centripetal force vanishes. That means there is no any force to accelerate this particle. Then what happened? The particle suddenly takes the linear path. That means it moves linearly with the same constant speed by which it is revolving around. So the centrifugal force is actually an assumed force. It is a virtual force that is because assumed to be acting on the body to maintain its linear motion. That means it is the tendency. It is the centrifugal force is due to the tendency of the body to maintain its linear direction of motion at any particular point of the circular track. Now, if the force is not acting on the body, that means the centripetal force is not acting on the body, the particle at that point takes the linear path. So this tendency of taking the linear path now act as a centrifugal force which is acting opposite to the centripetal force. When the centripetal force is present, then this force is assumed to be acting on the same body but in opposite direction. So centrifugal force is basically the assumed force which is due to the tendency of the body to retain its uniform linear motion at any point of the circular track. It is also to be remembered that the centripetal force and centrifugal force are always equal in magnitude at every point of the circular track, and those are acting on the same particle or same body. So that's why centrifugal force never be considered as a reaction of centripetal force. That means if centripetal force is considered as action and centrifugal force is considered as reaction, so it is wrong. That the centrifugal force never be any action, because action and reaction are not applied on the same body. Here centripetal force and centripetal force is on the same particle and centrifugal force is assumed to be acting on the same particle. So it is never be considered as a reaction of centripetal force. So thank you class. Students, see there are some numericals from the chapter 1 course. See this one, a uniform meter rule balanced horizontally on a knife is placed at the position of 58 cm mark when a weight of 20 gram force is suspended from the one end. Then we have to find out what is the weight of the meter rule. This is the question. So suppose this A, B is the meter rule. This is the 0 mark and this is the 100 cm mark. This is the midpoint 50 cm mark and this is 58 cm where the knife edge is. Now it is given in the question on the end, on this end the 20 gram force load is given. Now after giving this load, the meter rule is in the state of equilibrium. Then we know that once a body is in the state of equilibrium, then according to the principle of moment of forces, see, we all know that the center, the mass, the weight of all the meter rule is from the center of gravity. That is, the weight of the meter rule is from the point here at the center, which is 50 centimeter, center of the meter rule. So the weight is applied. That means the weight in terms of force is applied downward. So the distance is the distance. This is the distance, 8 centimeter. This is the knife edge, and this is the weight. So force is, this is the line of force, and this is the distance, and this is the pivotal point. So 8 centimeter is the distance. So this causes the anti-clockwise movement of the beam meter rule. See, the W into 8 centimeter, W means the weight which is to be find out, and 8 centimeter is the distance. Now, due to this load, the meter will rotate clockwise in clockwise direction, and which is equal to 20 gram force into 42 centimeter. Why 42 centimeter? Because the knife is on 58 centimeter and the total length is up to 100. So the length between in those 2 points is 42 centimeter. So in this way you can calculate the answer. The question is, a uniform meter rule of 100 gram balances horizontally on a knife is placed at the position of 40 centimeter mark when a mass of M is suspended at 20 centimeter. See, this is the figure we have. This is the meter rule. This is 0 mark and this is 100 mark. This is 50 centimeter. This 50 centimeter is the center of gravity, and the whole mass, whole weight is from the 50 centimeter mark. So this 50 centimeter marks, from the 50 centimeter mark, the weight of the meter rule is active, 100 GI. Now the knife base is on 40 centimeter mark. It is given here, and at 20 centimeter mark, your load mg is given. A mass m is suspended here, so the load is mg. Now, according to principle of moments of force, we know that the anti-clockwise moment is equal to the clockwise moment. The meter rule is in the state of equilibrium. So here, this mg, this is the load into, this is the distance. See, 20 meter from 40 centimeter reading to 20 centimeter reading. The distance is 20 centimeter. From this is the axis. This is the pivoted point. So now 20 meter mg into 20 meter gives the anti-clockwise moment, and here at 50 centimeter mark, the weight acting 100 gram. So 100 gram is the force into the distance from 40 centimeter to 50 centimeter. See, 10 centimeter is the distance. So here 100 into 10 gram gives the clockwise moment. So by solving this, we can get 50 as the value of m. 50 gram is the answer.